You're watching a segment of The Splash, Greater West Bloomfield's news magazine show.
I'm joined this week by Elyse Foltyn from MOCAD. And Elyse, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Okay, so first of all, tell us what MOCAD is.
MOCAD is the Museum of Contemporary Art Detroit. Our museum has been open 13 years and we're right on the corner of Woodward and Garfield in the heart of Midtown. It is in a jewel of an Albert Kahn building that's probably close to 100 years old, an old auto dealership, which is now has since served as the gallery space of our museum.
Okay, so a lot of people might pass right by and not even notice it, right? So there's this new push to bring some more money into the museum to kind of refurbish it to some degree, right?
That's right.
So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, first, in order to find the museum now, we have this famous Martin Creed neon sculpture on the outside, on the Woodward side of the building, which says everything's going to be all right. It's totally encouraging and optimistic. And yes, we plan on having a facelift as our city has become so much more developed, and in particular the Midtown area, as we've decided it's time for us to have a facelift. And we love our building as it is. Mm-hmm. It's urban, it's, as I said, has Albert Kahn roots, but it needs to be refreshed a little bit with some basic things, including air conditioning.
That's
and
huge,
heat.
right?
I'd say so. We don't have air conditioning right now. We have not had air conditioning. So it certainly affects our climate-controlled exhibitions and affects our ability to rent out space to weddings and other events. So air conditioning will be very, very important for us.
So there's a match going on right now, right?
That's right.
Until June?
There's a match going on through June, a $5 million match that was graciously, very, very generously brought to us by the Taubman family and the Reyes family, both the family of one of our former co-founders who passed away 2 years ago, Julie Reyes Taubman. And the building, I'm happy to say, is going to be renamed in her memory as MOCAD at the Julius Reyes Taubman building. Until June, we have the opportunity to get $1 for every dollar we raise. So basically every dollar that's donated to us through June will be worth $2. And air conditioning, as I mentioned, is one of the things we hope to do. We hope to turn our parking lot into an eco-friendly plaza, which we can utilize more for performances and concerts and dance and events for the community. We also hope to make the building itself more accessible to Woodward and to the neighboring buildings by building a pathway.
So kind of a walkway to connect everything.
Correct.
So what's so interesting is that you had 69,000 visitors last year.
We did.
Right? So is that the best year ever?
That's our best year ever, and included in the 69,000 is more than 3,500 students. And that we're very, very proud of all of it. 69,000, 3,500, those are really important numbers to us because we're trying to reach out to our community more and more. And we think that this future fund, this campaign to redevelop our building and keeping the roots of the building itself will really enable us to serve more people in a more diverse community.
So you mentioned the kids, and it's pretty interesting, the stuff that you have that goes on for kids. The one program where you said there's, 20 kids that come a year? Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about that.
So it's called our Teen Council. We've been offering it for 5 years now, and we have 20 kids that from all around the Metro Detroit area that apply to be part of this program. They get paid to be part of this program, and they think that they're learning about art, and they are. Mm-hmm. We're providing, discussions about art. We're allowing them to create art. We've got an exhibit that's that's made by them later this year. But our real intent in creating this group of teens and in refining this group of teens is to get them to go to college. We feel that by having kids from different communities, the city of Detroit itself and neighboring communities, we've got some kids that are thinking about college and maybe studying for their ACTs. At the same time, there might be another student next to them who's never thought of an ACT, has never thought about going to college. But indeed, when they're working elbow to elbow with other kids, they start thinking about different things, and it breaks down not only the barriers about college, but many, many different types of barriers. You've got all sorts of kids working together. And I couldn't be more proud to say that we have an almost perfect record of kids going to college. Of the students that have gone through our teen council, All but one has moved on to college, and that one went on to ROTC. So we're pretty proud of that,
So not
too.
too bad, right?
Yeah, we're very proud of that.
So they'll be going to Western Michigan University, you said, for their show.
Well, they usually exhibit their show at MOCAD. They will be doing that this year, but Western has also agreed to work with us in doing an exhibition of their work at Western Michigan University. And as part of that, and our ongoing interest in getting them involved, interested in college, we're going to have them tour the college and stay a night in the dorms, eat in the dorms, and meet with other people that are involved at Western Michigan University. This summer, we're also offering a fashion camp for middle schoolers and likely high schoolers as well. And there's going to be a lot of back and forth to our neighboring Wayne State University textiles department and people that are involved with fashion there, again, to get these kids more comfortable in a college environment.
So what does art mean to Detroit and to the community?
Well, art in Detroit has certainly changed. What went from not being recognized as a great city for art is now one of the top most compelling cities in the world for art. Whenever we travel, people are always asking me about MOCAD, and it's often equated to Berlin, both in terms of art, but also techno music and other types of music. But Detroit has become really a huge community that it has attracted artists from all over the world. Because as it became increasingly more expensive for artists to live in New York, the lower rates in Detroit brought them here because they had cheaper living space and cheaper studio space. So we've got a lot of artists. So part of what we're happy about at MOCAD is not only are we highlighting, internationally renowned artists and artists that have recently come to Detroit because of, it's more affordable now, but we have made it a point to always show exhibitions of Detroit artists. Last year we showed about 40 artists of Detroit artists throughout the year. This year we hope to include the works of many more artists. So highlighting the great talent of our own community is very important to us.
So you do have exhibits that are going to be set up in April, right?
Correct.
And those will run until June?
That's correct.
Okay, so just highlight some of the exhibits that are coming.
Well, one exhibit is from a native Detroiter who was teaching elsewhere for a while, who had this horrific experience as a younger person. He was in a car with somebody that, unbeknownst to him, wanted to commit suicide. He drove off of a cliff, and the driver, who was hoping to kill himself, ended up being just fine. But this artist has become very physically disabled, and it's challenged his career. But like most artists, he's used that to fuel his career and create beautiful artwork and a beautiful story. So he's turned something negative into something positive. He's moved forward with it in a very, very compelling way. Another show we have coming is the first collaboration of Indigenous peoples at our museum, their first collaboration. And they will be showing their works of largely which is focused on the Indigenous peoples. And as part of that, we have agreed and committed to making a statement of what the history of MOCAD itself is, what our space is. So we've already learned about the different tribes that were part of the land on which MOCAD sits now.
So it's kind of a proclamation then.
Exactly, exactly.
So
to show our respect, of course, for those that came before us.
Right. So MOCAD is somewhat free, right? I mean, it's free to go there. You ask for a donation.
It's totally free.
Totally free.
We encourage people to, if they can, to give a $5 donation. And if they want to become members, there's a $25 plus membership associated with that. But we really want to be accessible to everybody, and we don't want to discourage people that can't afford to come to the museum to come, so we keep it at zero, and if they can give something, that's great. And we attract a really diverse group of people, especially as our exhibitions continue to be extremely diverse. We attract people not only, as you mentioned, different ages, and as I said last year we had about 3,500 students. We attract people of all different ages and ethnicities from across the Metro Detroit area, and including people that have come from outside of the United States. I think our shows, although they can sometimes be controversial, and are intended to be controversial sometimes, have drawn people that have different points of view, and we have conversations on that. We have public meetings, discuss the artwork. which might be controversial. And other artwork that has brought many people together. We had an exhibition earlier last year on Cause, who's a very famous artist, who's done a lot of collaborations with kids' sneaker brands and design houses. And so the people that came to his exhibition were not only from outside the world because it was his first museum show, but there were kids that wanted to see what does the work of this artist look like when it's on an easel or in a sculpture and not on my gym shoes.
Right.
And people that might never come into our museum that knew of his work with designers wanted to come in and see it. So it was really exciting to see the broad array of people that were coming through our doors.
I mean, art obviously just brings people together, right?
Well, that's our goal, is to bring different types of people together and create a conversation. And we're really excited. We consider that the sign of a good show when there are different types of conversations taking place and we have a broad audience.
Well, thank you so much for being here. If anybody was interested in donating to the fund, there's a website that they can look at?
MOCADdetroit.org. It's MOCADETROIT.org. And this is the time to do it because right now every dollar counts as two. Through June, we really are hoping to meet our goals. Right now we've got $2.7 million in the match to the $5 million. We need another 2.3 at least.
Again, we've been joined by Elyse Foltyn from MOCAD.
Thanks for watching this segment of The Splash. To watch the entire show or other segments, catch us on Comcast Channel 15 and AT&T Channel 99. Or look us up online at thesplash.tv and listen to us every week on 89.3 WBLD, the all-new Lakes FM.